start.
All right, we are back and we are live with Nicole Jenkins. Hello, Nicole. How are you?
Hi, Jim. How you doing?
Wonderful. Well, we've got 45 changemakers from around the world that we're highlighting, and you are part of the inaugural class. So congratulations for being nominated and for receiving the honor. And secondly, just a lot of the audience is going to have no idea who you are. So can you share a little bit about your background, where you're from, and go from there?
I am Nicole Jenkins. I am from the city of St. Louis, West St. Louis City. Actually considered to be one of the roughest parts of St. Louis City. I was a DSEG student all throughout my elementary, middle school, and high school years. I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to attend Rockwood School District. So I was a bus student, for those that don't know what the DSEG program is. I then went off to St. Louis Community College. I didn't want to incur any financial debt. I served as president of Phi Theta Kappa, actually vice president of Phi Theta Kappa, and president of communications for the National Honor Society. I then went off to University College, graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Communications. And I have my adult years, my childhood years, I've always been taught to thrive on community service and helping others that can do nothing for you, but treat people equally and fair. And so I, as a child, that carried over, and those childhood memories carried over into my adult years. And so I started working in healthcare. I also worked at New City School while in college. And I love to dance. I love to run. I love yoga. And I love outreach, whatever that may be, whether it's mentoring, whether it's volunteering in local food banks. I just love to give. So that's who I am.
And what's your sign?
I am kidding. A Capricorn. But they say it's 2 Capricorns. You have one that's bad, and you have one that's kind of lazy, and you have one that's just a go-getter, and I think I'm the go-getter Capricorn.
Fair enough. Well, and there's a little bit more to your background. So let me also share, you served on the board for ReVitalize once upon a time. You had your own television show. You're a politician. You have all of these great things going on that you've done in the past. And the reason why you were nominated, it really, honestly, it makes me really proud of you, like on a personal level, because you were nominated because you gave up a lot of what you were working on because you identified a need in the way that our veterans were cared for. And you created the first in the country, right?
Yes.
First in the country, veterans only urgent care. So first, to anybody that's watching this that served, I know I speak for Nicole when I say thank you. We get to have the freedoms we have because of you. And then I want to flip that script back on you, Nicole, and say thank you for taking care of those that take care of us. And that's why you were nominated. And I happen to have kind of watched this process unfold for you. And you had some challenges putting this thing together.
I had a lot of challenges. It was, and number one, it was financial challenges because I've never put a business together this complex. And it was also, I did not get any loans from the bank. I actually did not qualify for a lot. I was maxed out. Honestly, I was a new homeowner. I was, as you said, I quit my corporate job to do this. So I had to go to a private investor, and I had to learn really quickly, what that investment would look like. Did I want to give away my business, or do I want to keep sole ownership and work a deal out? And so I did that. So I am 100% owner. No one owns the company at all. No one has the rights, and no one owns the company. But the credentialing, I couldn't open my doors. I lost probably 6 months of revenue because of the credentialing process during COVID. I literally signed the lease 2 weeks before the entire city and county was shut down. And I had to keep going. And I kept going. I became the general contractor. I knew nothing about construction like that, not to do a total gut in an entire building. Um,
It's fine.
and so it was, it was a lot. I had a meltdown. And I said, I cannot give up. That this is my life. I owe this to those who served, and those who fought for this country. And so I did it. It was a challenge, but I wanted to keep going because I worked at Mercy for 12 years. I worked at the VA for close to 4 years, and the healthcare management is totally different. Totally. And while, yes, the VA workers and the doctors, yes, they do care. I'm not going to say that all of them don't care, but I am going to say that there are more veterans than there are facilities. And the VA system needs a little bit of help. So instead of bashing the VA, I brought something to the table where I hope to open up 5 VA urgent cares. Within 5 years, I hope to open up 35. So as soon as
That's
St. Louis
amazing.
gets off the ground, I am running.
Well, so you and I mean, we've known each other for a little while now, maybe almost a couple years. And so, I have the privilege of having had a couple personal conversations with you. So I'm going to say some things that are semi-personal because this was really important for me that when you were nominated, that we honored you with this because, and correct me if I'm wrong in what I'm saying, but you broke a lot of odds. And I think part of this for me, it's not about, I want to be careful in how I say it. It's not about what you're doing, although it is. Don't discredit that at all. But it's about the fact that you're doing it and you weren't supposed to be able to do this, right? Like you defied the odds and, from where you grew up and the challenges, not everybody gets out and you did. So I think your story on top of everything from TV personality, politician, like you might inspire someone else that can go out there and change the world. And that's why it was really important to me when your nomination came through that like I smiled inside and out like I'm doing now. And so just if you wouldn't mind, share with our audience, if some little girl is sitting in her home thinking maybe she's not going to get out and she hears your story and she feels like she can because of you. Mm-hmm. Share your words of advice to her, to little girl you or little boy you, and then all the way up to somebody that might be your age and ready to get started in something. Words of wisdom.
Well, Jim, so I don't know if you know, but I do mentor. I mentor at Sumner High School, and that is it's something that keeps me grounded in who I am, and my belief and how I feel about, helping that little girl or young male that can't get out of the ghetto. And I also give away scholarships because you never know what these kids are going through. And so for every little girl, actually, I had a young lady that I gave a scholarship to, and this is her 3rd year in college. She's a Sumner graduate. She thought she was going to give up, and she started at St. Louis Community College. And I said, you're not going to give up. You're going to keep going. And now she's transferred over to UMSL. And so for any young girl or young male that feels like, I'm not a part of this world. I know what it feels like because I was raised in the ghetto, and being raised in the ghetto is there are people that were my peers that they didn't know what their next meal was going to be. They didn't know where their parents were. Right. They didn't have electricity, all these factors, and less known healthcare, a dentist, that these kids will go to school with a toothache and be expected to perform or an empty stomach. So, you never know. At 16 years old, I saw my best friend murdered in front of me. A male that I taught to read. My mother and my parents and my family, they were really big on if we don't have what we will have is education. You will learn, and you will learn to get along with everyone. And so being bused is good for you because you're going to adapt to the rest of the world. And my best friend, his mother was a drug addict. And that's something that I stay away from, dear to my heart. And I begged him to walk around the corner with me to the corner store. We became best friends because when I moved on Terry Street, I would see him going into my trash from my garage. I would dump the dinner trash out and I would see him going into my trash. And I asked him one day, I called him, I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I don't have any food." His mother was a drug addict and she was selling their government assistance, their food stamps. So he had two siblings, and I told him, when I get wealthy, I'm gonna be wealthy and I'm going to help you. But I said, I want to help you read. And don't you want to learn how to read? And he attended public school, and he said, I do want to learn how to read. I want to be something. When we were 16, he had dreams of going off to college, and we walked around the corner and gangs was on the rise. I mean, they were really on the rise, and he pushed me back in the store. We were walking out of the corner store. He pushed me back in the store to save my life, and he was murdered. So this has been going on for a while. I'm in my 40s, and it's getting worse, across the world in the ghettos. And for any young girl or male who feel like they can't get out of the ghetto, you can. Keep a strong mind. Just because my motto is don't let your socioeconomic background status define you. You define it. If you have to go to the Goodwill, go get you some clothes for $1 or $2. Your priority should be the way you dress. Your priority should be the way you connect with others. Your priority, and that doesn't mean that you're trying to be something that you're not, because we have this big stigma in communities that if you're Black and you go out and date interracial, or you go out and have other friends that are non-African American, that you're trying to be something else. And that's not true. You have to get out and do what's best for you. And that is the way that you will always succeed in life. Perseverance, determination, and being very well-rounded. Your community brought you into this world, and it helped you and it moved you along. But what will really make you as a young adult is doing something different outside of your socioeconomic norm.
Awesome, Nicole. I didn't know that story, so I'm sure a lot of our audience heard that like I did for the first time, and a flood of emotions hit. So, I feel so sorry for what happened, but I'm so grateful that you were spared, because you're doing amazing things and you're inspiring a lot of people. How would someone find you, a veteran? How would they find your urgent care?
They would find my urgent care at www.vauc.org.
And that's V as in Victor, VAUC.
.org.
Perfect. Nicole,
Yes.
I'm so honored that you're a 2021 Changemaker for ReVitalize, an organization you helped to revitalize itself.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you this. So
fire away.
This is for any young person that wants to get into IT. I just officially created my own electronic health record with artificial intelligence added. It will show the signs of PTSD, anxiety, and depression amongst veterans when they walk through the door. That is something that the center is big on. We just got awarded by COI Magazine Applications. With our collaboration is with Patrick Hogan of Cellbridge Science. Please look the article up. And this is phenomenal. So when a veteran comes in, they will be checked in under my electronic health record, VAUC's health record.
That's perfect. And let's get that article tagged in the comments so people can see that. Nicole,
I will send
thank
you the
you.
link, and please do.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Congratulations again on being recognized as a change maker. I've known it for many years. We just didn't have the platform to share it. So it's an honor to consider you my friend, and an even bigger honor to have you as a change maker. So thank you again.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, Larry Cohn, we're going to send it back up to you to keep Changemakers 21 rolling.